Another means for working with multiple worksheets is three-dimensional formulas. In the previous lesson, we looked at an example of consolidation. All of your employees were using expense sheets that lived on a server resource. You took those expense sheets and consolidated them into one sheet. And as we described in that lesson, you're going to end up with a tab for each month, and all of your employees consolidated into one workbook. Let's open up a finished example of that consolidation, which you'll find in your student folders in section 13, and that's called travel expense. Travel expense has your tabs, January, February, March, etc. Obviously, the sheet would be a lot more complex and large. I'm keeping it simple so I can show you this quickly. Here in January, we have the expenses for all 4 employees and the various categories summarized. In February, we have the same thing. In March, we have the same thing. And on our totals page, it's ready to be summarized. And you can do that easily using three-dimensional formulas. To create a three-dimensional formula, it begins much like it does any other formula. For example, in airfare for Mark A, we're going to type equals sum. And when we open our brackets, this is where we can go back and create a three-dimensional formula that will drill down through all of the tabs in our workbook and pull data from each sheet accordingly. Let's go back to the January tab and get the January airfare. Now, in order to anchor this selection and allow us to select right through to the end of the year, or in this case, to the end of March, hold down the Shift key, select the March tab, and close brackets. You notice that the formula we've just built summarizes everything from sheet January through March at B2. Hit Enter, and that formula has now been entered into our total sheet, and because the references are relative, we can copy that formula to the rest of the cells. Let's click on the box and drag it to the right, and then drag them all down. And there you can see, very quickly and very easily, we have a summary sheet of our entire annual expenses for all of the employees in the various categories. That's a three-dimensional formula, and when you combine consolidation with a three-dimensional formula, you can automate an entire department's task.